Hello and welcome to Real Stories. The life and times of some of your favourite pop icons told through the stories of people that have known them, loved them and probably given them detention. Today we got bar highs and bar lows.
It only takes a minute, girl.
Yes, over the next 60 minutes, the life and times of Mr. Gary Barlow, brought to you using videos, interviews and, of course, the expert opinions of my panel of, well, experts from the Sun newspaper. Friend of the stars, Gordon Smart. Hello, Gordon.
Hello, Dave.
Favourite other person or thing called Gordon?
Gordon Burns, Cryptofaxer.
He went there. And friend of her fiancée, Jodie, features writer for More magazine, Abby Pethelus. Abby, your favourite other Gordon?
Well, apart from this one, I'll say Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, Gordon Ramsay's out of the bag now. Right, let's get to our first film. This is all about Boyhood Barlow, or as I like to call him, Kid Soft Rock. Gary Barlow, born 20th of January 1971 in Frodsham, Cheshire. He shares his birthday with Heather from M People and Will Young. Gary is inspired to ask for his first keyboard for Christmas by Depeche Mode's Just Can't Get Enough. And once he's got a taste for the old ivories, he really can't get enough.
Went round to visit him and his mum one time, and he showed us his bedroom, which was absolutely full of keyboards and drum machines and all sorts of things like that. So much so that I don't know how the lad ever got into bed.
Gary is a prolific teenage songwriter, producing demo tapes with dozens of songs, including Million Love Songs. Yes, that Million Love Songs.
Gary used to play and record and do his songwriting in his bedroom at home, and when he'd got the latest batch complete, he'd fetch me a cassette of the recordings up to the house, and we'd have to sit and chomp on these coconut bars while we listened to his latest batch of songs, him saying, what do you think of that, what do you think of this?
The moment he put his hands on the piano and he started singing, there was something special. So from that moment onwards, I could tell that what I had in front of me wasn't just an ordinary pupil. This was somebody who did have an incredible talent.
The first time I heard A Million Love Songs, it was called A Million Love Songs Later, and it was on one of the cassettes that Gary wrote and recorded in his own bedroom, and he brought that up, and it was at this point that I was still promoting the fact that he should include a sax break on all of his songs, and lo and behold, when A Million Love Songs was released by Take That, they had a sax break in the minute, which I like to think is down to my constant haranguing the lad to put sax breaks in it.
Mr. Smiddy, what an absolute diamond. And it's like watching a real-life Kes. And those tapes you saw there are the real-life Gary Barlow's demo tapes from Mr. Smiddy's collection. Proper musical relics. It's a bit like being an Indiana Jones of pop. Did you write any songs when you were about 14, 15?
Yeah, I wrote 500 Miles for the Proclaimer. But I got kicked out of the band. Musical differences.
It's a Scottish thing.
It is.
Abby, apparently Gary would kind of get so lost in his music that his girlfriend would just go home.
Yeah.
She'd just go, oh, it's probably time for me to leave.
It was a bit of a nerd.
This was I was going to say, is he a music nerd or is he just dedicated to the cause?
Well, most boys are going out and playing football and things like that. He's at home playing the piano, tinkering around and things. And, you know, when you're 14, you've got a boyfriend, all you want to be doing is snogging, really, isn't it? You don't want to be sat there.
These are the opinions of Abby Pethelus, ladies and gentlemen, and not of the programme.
You know, I mean, I bet she's kicking herself now, but at the time she was like, oh, come on, Gary.
Well, exactly.
Give it a rest.
Yes, Gary can do a big I told you so to quite a few people from back then. Now, obviously, a lot of people we feature on this show have been in music since they were very, very young. I mean, Gary didn't literally come out playing the piano. That would have been terribly painful for Mrs. Barlow. But what we have got is Gary taking his first little tentative steps into music with his fabulous 80s gear. Whilst other 14-year-olds were snogging behind the bike sheds, Gary is working on his keyboard skills in working men's clubs across the northwest.
Gary used to come with his mum and dad every Saturday night, and he'd set up his keyboard. Mum and dad would get the drinks and the crisps in, and he'd go on stage when it was time for him, and everyone really liked him.
I was a young teacher at the time, and he was earning more money than I was, playing for 2 nights in a nightclub. So that was pretty amazing stuff.
And became very professional as a result. He's a very, very accomplished performer.
Already something of a local hero, Gary wins both plaudits and prizes with his teenage tinkling.
We hatched this idea to have a talent contest, so we called it the Greenall Whitley Weekly News Club Act of the Year competition. The group was called Stacks. It was a duo with Gary as the schoolboy playing keyboard and singing, and a friend of his who was a bit older, John Tedford, who was the drummer. John and Gary were wearing sort of strange, shiny, I don't know what you call it, shiny shirts with white bow ties. In fact, I can actually show you a picture of a young Gary and his friend John. They emerged at one point ahead of a B-pop rock group from Liverpool called Fizzy Drinks. It was a great night.
Now, apparently, Gary was earning more in a weekend doing his little gigs than his teachers were in a whole week, which is, you know, in the hands of a less well-behaved child, could have been classroom dynamite. And also, it's a tribute to his teacher, Mrs. Nelson, that she just didn't pack in teaching and start her own chart-topping boy band. So, well done, Mrs. Nelson. Abby, there's a theme starting here.
Yep.
Gary's a nice kid, but underneath it, my word, is he determined.
I know, obviously we know he's really ambitious, but there has to be that love there. He obviously loves doing it to, you know, give up pretty much his childhood to dedicate his time to touring the country. So, yeah, he loves it, so he obviously feels that's his destiny.
Now, doing the working men's clubs can't be easy, Gordon. A brave little soldier as well.
Oh yeah, that's battle hardening stuff, character building. You couldn't get a better education than that, and you can see it when he performs now, when he hosts things. He's got that variety, that cabaret, that experience behind him, and it's a tough audience. It's a tough gig in front of 30 blokes on their pints trying to get their attention. Yeah, in between the bingo, not easy.
Just do the meat raffle, babe. Oh, okay, fine. Right, Gary, he's still at school. He's in Cheshire, but it's just not big enough to hold him. Gary's ready for his first national TV debut. Take a look. In 1986, Mrs. Nelson enters Gary into TV competition Song for Christmas. His tune, Let's Pray for Christmas, gets to the live finals, though his mum thinks it's too slow.
And bells call high and low.
I wasn't particularly sure whether Gary's mum liked Let's Pray for Christmas or not, but the school assembly certainly did. And when one of the occasions Gary played it at the Christmas assembly, he had a box full of these cassettes that he was selling off for 50p each.
It's today, it's today.
A couple of weeks after recording a backing track, 15-year-old Gary is on his way to the Birmingham studios.
First thing we did was went up to the canteen, and he was busy collecting the BBC canteen paper cups to take back to school as proof that we'd actually been there.
Gary had given something like £20 expenses to re-kit himself out in some different clothes for the following day. And one of the things he did purchase was a plain white scarf, which became quite the fashion item at school, and quite a few of us, including me, still have a white scarf in the wardrobe.
Looking back, I'm sure Gary wasn't upset at not winning the competition and only getting through to the semi-finals. The experience itself was enough for him, and I think he took that experience back to Frodsham with him, and of course he built on it.
There you go. Gary Barlow is a fashion trendsetter. I bet you never thought you'd imagine it, not after seeing those jumpers. But this stuff, the white scarf, it's going to be huge. We are bringing it back for 2010, girlfriend. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Looking good, Mr. Smart.
She'll never be worn by Paul Weller.
Pethalis, how you feeling?
I feel like Princess Anne, if I'm honest.
Right, OK, it is time for our first Garyometer. This is where we gauge, at this stage in his life and his career, how well or not, in case he's getting on. So, Nowhere Boy, local hero. Gordon, let me start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the touch paper's lit in his career at this point. Things are flying for him. First appearance on national TV. It's all looking really good. So on your scale, I think you'd have to be up towards local hero for me.
Local hero? Okay.
Yes.
Now, obviously, Abby, we've seen him miss out on the Christmas #1, something that they'd have to get used to early on. Think that's knocked his confidence? Would that put him back to nowhere boy?
Well, this was pre-X Factor, so people had to work harder.
Good point.
To get,
Yes.
you know, to get famous.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's doing well for himself. He's putting in the hours and he's working his way up to the top. He might not be there yet, but he's definitely on his way.
So for now, we're sticking with local hero.
We're staying there.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you very much, Gordon. Right, so we've done Gary's Million Love Songs, probably earlier than you expected. We've done his working men's club gigs. We've done his TV debut. Coming up, Gary's got to Rush, Curtis Rush. We've got Leather Chaps and Jelly. No, really. So there's plenty more to look forward to right here on Real Stories.